My name is Jane Mufamadi. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Freedom Park. I joined the Heritage Department when the museum was just a shell, and my responsibility was to envision the exhibition and what it would look like, the content of it. I was one of the youngest researchers that participated in the conceptualization of Freedom Park. And it was in 2016 that I was then appointed as the Chief Executive Officer. So I've really grown up at Freedom Park. My main responsibility at the time was really research and development, counseling. I come from a psychology background as well. So we did a lot of counseling for families who lost their loved ones during the liberation struggle. We participated in the Missing Persons Task Team, where we were researching to find out where many people who were killed are buried so that we can properly hand over the remains to the families. So that was a very emotional period during conceptualization of Freedom Park. So my main role was to ensure that as the remains are handed over, they're done and accorded the utmost respect in terms of the cultural belief systems of the families. My main responsibility, obviously, is to implement the vision and the strategy as set out by our council and the shareholder. And particularly here at Freedom Park, it's really our primary focus currently is the names collection, collecting the names through research of those who died for freedom and humanity across the 8 conflicts. So that has been somewhat challenging. We have to date collected and inscribed 143,895. You know, South Africa had a very interesting form of slavery because unlike other countries where slaves were taken out, South Africa really imported slaves to come. We have various forms of slavery like Nbukelenge, chattel slavery, and so forth. So that era is also commemorated here at Freedom Park. Freedom Park is a very interesting and exciting journey. It really started when in 1999, during the celebration of Freedom Day, President Mandela, he made a very profound statement while he was in Umtata, where he said that the day should not be far off when we shall have a people's shrine, a Freedom Park where we shall honor with all the dignity they deserve those who endured pain, so we should experience the joy of freedom. So basically, that is what Freedom Park is all about. And it's part of the legacy projects. The representations of heritage at the time was very exclusive, and the majority of South Africans were not reflected or included in the spaces, in the cultural and heritage spaces. So with the freedom came the freedom to determine, to showcase who we are. And I see Freedom Park encapsulated in Madiba's statement as that celebration, but also a preservation of the memory and the journey that we as a country underwent. When Freedom Park was conceptualized, it was important to decide who will it serve and what form and nature will it take. And for us to get to that, we had to embark on consultative process. So Freedom Park's conceptualization was highly consultative. We consulted about 21 sectors of our society. At conceptualization stage, there was a question. I remember Professor Walisa Roger loved it. The question was, the content must inform the container. So firstly, we had to determine what is it that we want to showcase, what story do we want to tell. So what we were going to put inside would determine the design and the shape. And we are proud that even the shape itself tells a story. It's very symbolic. The primary people who really guided us on what Freedom Park should look like are what I will call organic intellectuals, the elders and wisdom keepers in the communities, because we see the celebration of freedom as the celebration of the emancipation of the African voice, an opportunity for us as Africans to tell the world who we are, where we come from, and where we want to go. So the design, the aesthetics, the architecture was highly influenced by ordinary elders from our communities. People like Baba Credo Mutwa, Mama Grace Masuku, Mama Helen Sibidi, Mama Noria Mavasa, Mama Jane Koza, and many other ordinary men and women in our communities. They really advised and guided us in making Freedom Park what it is today. There was a process that Freedom Park embarked on within South Africa in the 9 provinces and also outside South Africa where South Africans died. They conducted an old age indigenous knowledge ritual called cleansing and the return of the spirits. So after the cleansing rituals were performed in the different spaces, the leadership, the faith-based communities took soil from those spaces where South African died. They even took, in certain instances, stones. They also brought some plants also that had a meaning and significance in terms of spiritual aspects. And the soil, the stones and those plants were then planted at Isivivan. We requested provinces also to bring a boulder from a place of significance. So we have 9 boulders from each province. We have also an additional boulder that symbolizes national government and another boulder that symbolizes the international communities for the role that they played. So the boulders were positioned in a circular formation because a circular, again, it's very significant in the African philosophy and belief systems, because when you sit in a circle, there are no hierarchies. So it's a sign of equality. You can see each other, you can talk with each other. So the hierarchies are broken, which is a sign and a symbol of equality and respect for all living beings. The wall itself, with all the names, it is a physically constructed space. But again, as a memorial, you see people coming, performing rituals next to the names of their loved ones and praying or doing whatever they know best in terms of their cultures. So that is mainly the value, the symbolism of healing the division of the past, transforming individual pain into a national shared pain, because the pain that the families suffered is the pain that we as a country suffered for the freedom that we enjoy today. So that is really the significance of Freedom Park. Freedom Park was conceptualized in such a way that it accommodates everybody in terms of our diversity. We are not just focused on the park and visitors, but we have outreach programs So we go out to communities, we engage them. We also want to make sure that we bring about South Africans towards the journey of healing and closure in terms of moving from the past to the future. So I think I see that as my role as a CEO, to lead in the conceptualization and implementation of those programs so that we fulfill our mandate as set out by Madiba. A nation that does not know where it comes from will find it hard to determine a future for itself. So when you come to Freedom Park, in our spaces, you learn about our history, our heritage, our culture, our indigenous knowledge systems, our spirituality. So it's really a mix, because that's how our thinking as Africans is. We don't have those compartments that normally people want to box us on. As a people, in our lived experience, that is what we are. So our spaces internally showcase that. In 2000, that was the official launch of Freedom Park. And in 2004, when construction began in earnest, we actually discovered that it was pre-declared by SAHRA, but subject to fulfilling certain conditions. So there was that pre-declaration, but we were declared proper in March 2017. And we really feel proud. The declaration mainly is focusing on the intangible value of Freedom Park. I think what I want to say to the nation, to South Africans, is that they need to come to Freedom Park. And I believe if they come here, when they leave, they will be able to better determine where they want to go in terms of the future, but just to challenge. And I think our dream is that at least once in their lifetimes, South Africans should at least visit Freedom Park, irrespective of where they come from. If we do not learn from the mistakes of the past, we can easily tilt back and find ourselves where we were 27 years ago, and we don't want to go back. So if you want to chart a collective future, take personal and collective responsibility, preserve, appreciate, and celebrate who we are, the triumph of the human spirit. Let's come to Freedom Park.